365 days, but I treat every day like it's my last. I'm only concerned with building on the future, cause I can't change my past. Positive vibes for positive lives. She just giving you that truth and shifting your mind. It's more mental than you realize. It's up to you to take control, cause this world is cold and negativity gon' take its toll. Now we've been told any day could be your last. I'm embracing every moment and I cherish every laugh, every smile, every hug, every kiss, every touch, every person in my life that I care about and love. But wait, maybe I'm getting too emotional. That's exactly what they say you ain't supposed to do. Suppress your feelings, never talk about your pain. Can't appreciate the sun without acknowledging it rains, right? That's right. So this a moment of clarity, and make sure you always protect your energy. You stay focused and your life gon' be lit. And you are now rocking with Celeste the Therapist. Let's go.
Hi, beautiful people. If you're watching me on the replay, thank you for watching me. My name is Celeste. I'm a therapist from Boston. I have this podcast where I talk to people who are doing things to empower the lives of others. And the goal behind it is to just help people shift the way they think. So the podcast originally started as an audio podcast. Then I brought it to video last year. So that's been super exciting. So if you want to learn more about me or the podcast, you can visit CelesteTheTherapist.com. But now I'm going to bring on my special guest and add her to the stream so we can have a conversation. Let me add my special guest. Where are you? There you are. Hi, special guest. How are you?
Good, good. Hi, Celeste. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Can you introduce yourself to my audience?
Of course. So my name is Erin. I am CEO and founder of Melanin Erin Virtual Assistants, and my team and I amplify businesses by taking on task work, organizing systems for overwhelmed CEOs, and we produce podcasts.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoy what you're doing. But before I get into the transition on how you got there, I think it's important for my audience to get to know you just a little bit. So tell me a little bit about where you were born.
Yeah, totally. So I am born and raised in Smithfield, Rhode Island, and that is a small town, suburban, predominantly white. And
Mhm.
so, where my energy comes from of wanting to amplify voices, wanting to give people a platform, wanting to allow people, to speak, um, is you know, growing up in a position where you're comparing yourself to people who do not look like you, their lips don't look like yours, their nose doesn't look like yours, they don't understand your issues that you have personally, and um, I had to go through kind of this identity formation crisis. Going into college, because then you're catapulted into the real world. You're not really in this bubble where you're meeting all different types of people and you don't know who you are yet. And I really crashed and burned in high school. I'm sorry, in college, and it was more like,
When you
uh,
were when you were in high school and grade school and were around people that didn't look like you, did you think it was a big deal, or you didn't really understand why you felt uncomfortable, or did you understand why you felt uncomfortable during that time?
I don't think I realized in that moment why I was having so many issues with mental health. And it's more like relatability. You feel invisible, but you don't have these words. You don't have these, psychological terms that we throw around now. I went to school for psychology, so I get it now. But in the
Mhm.
time, you for me, it's not like I was bullied or anything. And I know some people are, and that's super unfortunate. Um, so, I was part of a lot of sports teams. I was in band, always had friends, always had someone to sit with, at lunch and everything. But yeah, I would say I didn't realize during high school, the difference that,
Mhm.
if I get in trouble, not or if other people get away with trouble, I'm probably still getting in trouble. I'm going to be targeted and that type of thing. So it was
Mhm.
definitely a reality flash coming out of that bubble and realizing the real world cares about your skin. They care about how you look. They're going to treat you differently and they don't care, and there's all these systems set up against us.
Mm-hmm. And then when you got to college, you said you crashed and burned. What do you think it was that caused the crashing?
So I went to Rhode Island College. I think being local, I was holding on to high school friends that really weren't the best for me. But it was easy. It's a 15-minute drive. So, and I'm also making more friends like that. So I'm getting into more trouble. And I really didn't know what I wanted to go to school for. And I ended up failing out just because I wasn't focused. Because how can you focus if one, you don't know who you are, so you don't have a center, and two, you really just don't want to be in school. That's just not your thing. School isn't, not to say school isn't for everyone, but we all learn in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just like we all heal in different ways, and it's amazing. And we're going to talk more about it, but that I ended up doing business because that's probably where, if I started there in that 18, I might have felt more fulfilled. I might have found myself earlier. It just might have stuck and made sense for me. But I believe in divine timing. So I think I had to go through all the mess, all the failing, getting back into school, doing, all of those things that I had to do to get here. So I'm at peace with it.
All right. So you ended up going back to school and you got your degree?
Yes, two degrees in psychology. One is for addiction and one is for general psych.
Uh-huh.
And they had an internship as well, which was my buy-in. I'm like, okay, I have like a foot in the door. If I'm going to go through all this school, which is unfortunately what happens, people go get themselves into debt, and then all of a sudden, the job that they were promised, it does not exist, or it's not the pay that they were told, and then they end up working like maybe a retail job. So I was blessed to be able to be a part of a program that I identified with, and also that gave me that first foot in the door of this is mental health. Like this this is it.
That's dope. So you have the psychology background. You at one point, I guess you wanted to work. You thought you wanted to work in a way one-on-one with people and helping them through
Yes,
their psych issues. Okay.
yes,
And then
yes.
when did that change for you? When did you switch it up?
Yeah, because I've had different therapists throughout life, and I did feel like I was giving back to the community. However, mental health is also, or the mental health field can be very draining. On practitioners, for people that are listening that aren't familiar, it's incredibly, you're taking on these people's experiences and traumatic flashbacks, and you're the person that they come to. And I felt like when I was going to school for my master's, I went right back
Oh,
for mental health counseling. I wanted to be a mental health counselor, and I just burned out from going to school forever because remember, I flunked out, but then went back in, and then plus 2 years, and then I go right back for my master's. And I felt like I still had a few things that I needed to resolve. I felt like I was sitting and doing kind of like these simulation therapy sessions, and I'm just like, I can't even share my experiences, like my deep traumatic, like I identify with you because,
hmm
type of thing. So that was like a huge, that was just a huge, like, I shouldn't say red flag, but like reminder for myself that I have to take care of myself first before I can
yes.
take care of anyone else. So that, I stopped the program. And I was already working in the field. By the time I left last year, it was 7 years, and I was already working in the field. And I'm like, let me make some money. Let me see what I want to do. Do I want to get like my doctorate? What do I want to do with psychology? What position do I want to play? So yeah, that's where I kind of put things on hold.
Nice. Okay. So you have that passion. And I think like one thing I know is that people don't know all the different capacities we can do to help people. It doesn't just have to be like one-on-one therapy. There's so many different things that can happen. But what you did last year, tell me about last year, 2020, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but you decided that you was going to start your business during that
Yes.
time. So tell me about that transition.
Oh my gosh. And so many people looked at me like I was crazy. Like, what? And I'm like, well, I mean, I was an essential worker, so I wasn't behind on rent, like I was paying everything. So like it's not like I was going without work. So, I kind of just planned my exit, in the beginning of the year. I kind of just made the decision I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck, years going on. I don't want anyone talking to me about how I'm 3 minutes late, but they have to because their boss is like, why is Erin late? Why is she late again? Like, why? And it's like, because I just don't want to be here. Really, truly, I really just do not want to be here. And I figured out a way to get myself here, you know. Um, but the transition, I made my plan. I started looking into like virtual assistants. How could I easily set something up? There's low overhead. I don't have to, it's not like a brick and mortar. You literally just go on your laptop, you know, get your website and all of those things set up. And at first I didn't even have a website and people were like, yeah, I still want to work with you because your prices are low. So there's like a buy-in. Like there's always somebody that will hire you for where you're at. And I just went for it. I felt like I've interviewed with my podcasting days. It is a soul searching, which is still up, but I felt like I'd interviewed enough business owners, and the consistent thing that they told me was, you just have to push through. You can do this. You're going to fall. You're going to scrape yourself. You're going to be scared. You're going to have good days, bad days. But if this is really what you want to do, you will figure it out. You will ask for help. You will have your community, and you will figure it out. Um, yeah, and that was mainly my transition of it. And then in about June, I put my 2 weeks in. And then the beginning of July, I went on vacation to celebrate my birthday and then came back, continued working, and I've just been building ever since. And I'm blessed that consultations are coming in, more, it's coming in faster and faster. Now that I'm learning my marketing game, I'm learning my copywriting game, I'm learning how to speak to my ideal, client. So
Nice.
it's good.
You said at the beginning of the year, so before the pandemic started, you had already, this idea had already came to you about starting your own.
Yes. And I was working, if you all can imagine, I was working in my last job in the mental health field was in an admissions department in a psych hospital.
Okay.
So, which we built from the ground up 2 years previous. And I loved my job. Like, I absolutely loved everything about it. I loved coming in, I loved advocating of like, this looks like maybe a complicated case, but these are the reasons why I feel like they need a psych bed more than this person. Or can we, and learning policy. I love that I was getting involved in insurance. Like you really see how the world works once you get to that level. Um, and yeah, I just felt like it was too stagnant. I felt like my creativity was very boxed in.
Mhm.
Again, the lateness thing, I need to be in control of my time,
Mhm.
and that's just even going to mental health, like what if, you're having a mood swing and your depression is just, ramping up. And then you have to submit to someone, you have to advocate for yourself. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. If I'm having a bad day, I let my clients know it's going to come in tomorrow or now. I let my assistant know, and that's how we're going to do
Mhm.
things. I'm not going to force myself and then maybe even have a mental health breakdown because I'm just overwhelmed. But
Mhm.
January, I said to myself coming back from Barbados, I'm like, this is it. This is the last year. 2020 is my last year that I will be working for someone else. I know for sure. I felt it. I felt it deep in my spirit. I am counting down the days, and you get excited. You're like, okay, like you got a new walk now. It's like when you plan a vacation, you're like, oh, okay, I can take this for now because I know in a certain amount of time, I will not be dealing with this.
Mhm. Mhm. That's good, and I think that a lot of times it's hard to kind of step out, but were able to identify something that you didn't like. You wanted control of your time. Most times, if we're honest audience will sit around and just complain,
Yes, yes.
and get stuck in complaints instead of actually planning out what to do. So it's not like 1 minute she said, "I'm tired of this lack of time at having time. Tomorrow I'm going to quit." You actually planned it out and created something so that you can like step away from your job to be able to start your own.
Yeah, because there's just so much. I feel like I'm just not that person. Like if I don't like something, I've already started building a plan. Because the fact that I put it out into the universe, like this negative energy of like I'm unhappy, it's very serious to me because,
Mhm.
one thing we did learn from 2020 and some of us knew before is that life is short. It
Yeah.
feels long, the day to day doing whatever, but one, life is short, and two, life is yours. Like it's
Yeah.
your decision. It's not my boss's problem that I don't like my job anymore. She probably doesn't like her job anymore. Who knows? She got promoted and moved around, and then they put 20 things on you with the promotion.
Right.
So it's really not,
Right.
So, I just feel like, and I feel like I am a proactive person because I also surround myself with people who are change makers, who are like, I'm not going to sit in this misery. Like, what can I do to make this tolerable, tolerable for now, and
Mhm.
then, move on. But yeah, at first I was looking for jobs, like case manager jobs, and I'm like, I already did this. I get bored so quickly in a month from any job. It doesn't matter who hires me, I'm going to get bored.
Mhm.
So entrepreneurship just made sense because I control my day. I can be creative. People are just like, hey, this is what I need. You put your, what is my one of my clients is melanin magic. She's like, put that melanin magic on it and put that melanin Erin magic on it and send it back when you're ready. And that just feels better for me. I having more control. And there are low periods. There are times where maybe you lose clients or you just feel lost or you're drained by social media or you're drained by all the events that Black people have to deal with on a regular, regarding police and everything else. It's like just to have something for yourself and to be in control of at least your day is worth it for me. And I've actually been super grateful. Like lately, I'm like, I can travel, I can be with my family, I can make the money that I feel I deserve. Like, oh, it's just,
So good.
it's hard, but it's, to me, it's worth it, you know. Um,
That's good. And so like you transitioned in 2020, and now tell people about actually what you do and the services you provide, because one thing that you're doing is taking a lot of some of the task off of these entrepreneurs' plates, which is helping them with their mental health by
totally
being able to have that support. So you're still doing what you set out to do, just not in a therapeutic setting. So tell people about like
agreed.
what you do.
Yeah. So I am a project manager, which is a specialized assistant, and I operate virtually. And yeah, I mean, I am really in one aspect a cheerleader, getting back to what you were saying, because my clients come to me and they're like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. And it's like, okay, well, I want you to shine. I believe in your business, and we are going to get you more clientele, and this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to take on this and this and this, and so that you can be more present, whether it's in calls with their clients, client care. How do you have a business if you are missing meetings, if you are, just all over the place and you can't even be present in the coaching calls? Because I work with a lot of coaches. Um, and even, for example, why are people doing as business owners? And this is how we start off, but when we're ready to scale, why are we doing $10 an hour, $20 an hour things when we could be doing a sales call? We could outsource that to an assistant, a project manager, a specialist, and we could be doing a sales call for 1,000 a month to 5K, or more, 10K. I mean, it goes up and up and up. So it's just for me, like I said, the cheerleader aspect, but also, we maintain organization. We take the tasks off, get them in a way where they can check in on them, but they're not consumed by it. Other people are doing other tasks. Um, and yeah, that's mainly what we do. And then on the podcast production side, we launch, edit, produce. We can do graphics, social media images if you need it, um, email marketing series if you need, your WordPress updated or whatever. Announcing the podcast, announcing new things going on. We can assist with that.
Wow. So you're like a one-stop shop. And I think that when you said why do business owners do that? I don't think they really think about the fact that they're only one person.
Yes,
Especially like,
yes,
when you get to a point where you're making income and you can afford it, believe it or not, it'd be easier to like add that extra um assistant if you can if you can afford it, because it will actually free up time to do a lot more. And I just think
definitely.
a lot of times people don't really think. And then sometimes, if your business is growing, you want to be able to relinquish some control, so that you can continue to have it grow and you're not burning out. Because I just think that a lot of times, like the kind of work you do, I think it's probably more. I think it's not just more needed, but more people are learning about it because so much of our world now is online. You've
Correct.
hear virtual assistants, but you don't really see it as much. But I'm sure now people are like looking for it now a lot more.
Absolutely. And people will literally slide in my DMs like, because a lot of my tagline is if you're an overwhelmed CEO, and people will be like, I'm an overwhelmed CEO, and we are. You get to, like, it's a good thing that your business is succeeding, that you're getting through the algorithms and everything to your ideal client. That is a positive thing. Going back to affording, it's like, because we want to keep the money, we feel like, money comes, money goes, but imagine how much time, like you said, but even the ability to be creative, just
Mm-hmm.
to operate in your zone of genius. Like for me, I just brought on new team members. I can do the task work, but I really perform the best. I do Clubhouse. I do podcasts. I am like I do the best when I'm the face. I'm a public speaker. That's what I like to do. I like to do public speaking. I like to, be there with the client calls, and I like to set the system up, make sure things are going appropriately, and then pass it on to someone who just likes to do task work, who doesn't like podcasts, who doesn't
Right.
like video, who doesn't like, so it's really about um, hiring with a plan,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a training on my website called The Art of Delegation. And it is because you could hire six assistants in a year. Some people go through them because it is hard to find that relationship. But my training helps you with communication, learning what is delegation, and how to hire effectively. And it's audio, so you can take it in your car, all of those things. There's
Wow.
also a worksheet as well. So what I noticed when I signed on last year, as a virtual assistant at that point, is that it's hard for CEOs to one trust. So there's that mindset shift of like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is my baby that I'm going to let this person hold, and that I built from the ground up, that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into,
I know.
and but it's the mindset, but it's also the communication. How do we know how our virtual assistants communicate? Do they know how we communicate?
Mm-hmm.
So I walk people through that in a nice format. It's calming, with all of that. So yeah, that's mainly, what we do is just helping people get organized, and so that they can focus on what they need to be focused on, which as a CEO, it's your money is the bloodline, and you enjoying your business. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whether it's vacation or whether it's buying like a new Coach wallet or whatever your goal with your money was, do you even have time to spend it because you are just so focused on, being in control of everything? So,
Mm-hmm. That's good. Now, for people that are listening that are kind of inspired by the way you were able to like transition, what was it like during the transition part with you trying to stay focused on the task of creating your own? because I think a lot of times we stand in our own way because of all the fears and the doubts, which are normal. But I
Yeah,
think sometimes we allow the fear and doubt get in the way. So, what allowed you, or what did you do to like keep pushing forward to still now be in 2021? Is it? It's been a
definitely.
year. When was it?
Almost 10 months. So June will be a year. So we're getting
Nice.
close. I'm gonna have to do something. I'll invite everybody. I'll probably be somewhere on a beach, but I'll definitely give you guys the live and everything. But for me, I hired a business coach in February. Before that, um, just what I will say is I'm the type of person where I have to jump out there. So some people build while doing their business. I need to have no other option so that I can focus on all my attention on, the business. That's me personally. Um, I also felt like, and some people might identify with this, in the beginning, I felt like I was like copying other people. I didn't know, like, am I doing this right? And this person's doing it right. But what my coach has helped me realize is that you really have everything you need. You call on specialists to pull that out of you, but really, like, what I will say is my success in looking at the growth from even February to now, I just do me. I post pictures from my trips. I build my brand around I'm freeing people up, I'm freeing up their time so you can go on vacation like me or you can have more free time like me, and it's organic. Um, so in regards to making things easier for myself and being able to not fight these algorithms, I feel like I don't really fight the algorithm anymore because I'm the only person I'm talking to is my ideal client. That's the only post, whether I get 1 like, 20 likes, you guys don't have to worry about the likes because you're talking to one type of person. If you're in business, you're talking to your ideal client. There are posts that haven't gotten a like, and I had consultations lined up. So focusing on, I feel like your marketing, being true to yourself, it it makes it easier. Because it does get hard, maybe like the money's not coming in so fast, but when you get distracted with that, your creativity, for me, I'll say for me, I won't speak for everybody else, but when I get too focused and I get in that negative space and I start being afraid of like, what if I can't think creatively for my copywriting and for, my business and building and hiring, I focus on this will work. If I need to tweak here, this will work. Not just because I don't have another job, but this will work because I know I belong in this industry. I know that I bring value in this industry, and I felt that. I feel that every day. But I would say, I mean, if we talk about affording, I mean, a business coach is a investment. They're not cheap, but they save you a lot of time. They save you a lot of emotional energy of that self doubt and all of this. They work on even your relationship with money. It comes so fast and then it goes so fast. Why is that? Or why are you afraid to raise your prices? You feel like you're not making enough, but you're booked out. So why haven't you raised your prices? Are you afraid to make 5K a month? Are you afraid to make 10K a month? Are you afraid to make 20K a month? Why other people are doing it? Are they better than you? So those are the types of like strategies and thoughts that get me through kind of my slower periods because they do come.
Right.
And you just have to stay faithful to yourself, stay faithful to I belong here. I am just as good as the other people who may be getting 40 likes. Who knows if they're even getting clients either, you know, because
Facts.
social media is deceptive, it's so elusive. Who knows who's getting money? I know I am, and I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 likes because it's not necessarily just about the likes, it's about strategy and what I will say to wrap this part up is something my business coach blessed our boot camp with is she says she wakes up every morning and thinks, what does my dream client need to hear? And that's what she builds her content off of. What does she need to hear? Because she works with Black women. What does she need to hear? and that's it. It's not overcomplicating it. I need this image from Canva and it needs to do this. I need to do reels. What does she need to hear? So when she reads it, she knows that I'm speaking her language and I see her all the way through. And I am here ready to help her whenever she's ready to get over those barriers of money and whatever other things we put up. So yeah, just simplifying all that negative talk, you know.
That's dope. And I think for my listeners, what Erin is talking about, like the positive affirmations to help, like kind of reframe that negative talk that might come based off of experiences or what, if you have people in your life that doubt what you do or they're not in a business mind, they may struggle and say something negative because that's where their brain is.
Yeah.
And also like the investment and the business coach. I think about business coaches as like the therapist for the business owners, right? Like, because
Yes,
they
yes,
understand the nuts and bolts of things that are happening. And it actually ends up helping you in the long run. So between that and then your confidence, like I think your self-esteem, like, and you're very grounded in like who you are, what you want to happen. Like it sounds like you're very specific with your goals, and make
definitely.
sure that you're like living them out. And I think those things like investing in yourself, the confidence and the self-esteem and staying grounded, and also those affirmations are really good and helping somebody that's really trying to like start their own thing, whatever it is, right? Whether it's business, whatever, it could be just your own personal development, like really making sure that you are pouring into yourself and having those affirmations, I think, are so on point.
Yeah, and don't forget where you come from. You know,
Hmm.
that's also something I pull from is this
Hmm.
other time where I, just hit rock bottom. I can always call on that and say, is this really something I can handle? If I
Yeah.
went through this, this, and this to get back in college, everybody has their own story,
Story. Yep.
their own storm. If I went through this, this, and this, why can't I go through this right now? And what worked in the past for me when I was hitting rock bottom to pull myself out? Was it finding community, going to therapy? A lot of business owners go to therapy. You know, they have their business coach, they have their therapist, they have a wellness coach,
Right.
nutrition, because it's holistic. Business pulls a lot of those mental health issues out of you, or highlights, I should say, a
Yeah.
lot of those issues out of you, like self-esteem, like we just talked about,
Hmm.
like the do I deserve to make this type of money and be able to travel every month?
Hmm.
That's a mental, block. And, calling people in, whether it's a tribe, join some Facebook groups, hire a coach, get those business buddies around you. My business buddies are like, you need something, you don't know how to do it, cool. I have a training on this right here. I have these steps written out. Here you go. Because we want you to win and you're going to win. So if this is the one piece that's holding you back this month, here you go. Um,
So another thing that Erin is talking about is your community, your environment. Like, what's your community? I think that it's really hard to build something in isolation. So
yeah,
if you're somebody that's really trying to like accomplish a goal and you're finding yourself struggling, I think finding your tribe will be helpful. And now luckily with a lot of things being online, there's a lot of virtual tribes happening where people are connecting with people from across America, across the world. So don't allow the fact that you say you don't have anyone to stop you from completing your goal, and actually start to do your research. And this in this instance, you can let Google be your friend. If you're looking up a
definitely.
diagnosis, don't let Google be your friend. But
Yes, yes, yes. There are people out there, and I'm from a small town, so the city out here is like very like nobody wants anybody else to do better than them because then it's like it feels bad to them. So, I don't depend on them to share my stuff because I know they're not going to. I did a podcast for 5 years. I did radio. I went here. I traveled to Barbados with the podcast. I know, and I'm not going to make them, but there are people all over the world that love your energy, love your creativity, love your brilliance, love to even just meet for 30 minutes. And maybe they might know somebody that can refer that they can refer to you. You know,
Yeah.
there's people who are just would love to love on you. And like
Yeah.
my mentor says, go where the love is.
I love that. Yes. And thank you for
Yes.
bringing up the people not shit. Because I'm telling you, I tell people all the time, like my brand was built off of people I didn't know. And I think
Yes.
people get so hung up on, oh, well, this person's not supporting me, and that person, oh, maybe they're not your audience. And I think like trying to not get so focused on what somebody in your personal life isn't doing and just focus on the people. You miss out on the people that are supporting you when you do
Yes.
that. It's but I tell people when I first started, I used to just go live on Periscope and YouTube. People weren't coming in, like people weren't sharing anything, but I had that vision and my goal in mind. And so eventually like people started showing up, people I didn't even know. So that is like such good advice for people, especially people that are trying to build and they're finding themselves blocked or at a standstill because of the lack of support. So you just got to make sure like you're not allowing that to stop you. That's so dope.
Oh yeah, because I when I was doing radio, a few people would just not show up at all. And I'm like, oh, literally all you have to do is show up. Like the radio
Mhm.
station will do what they do. You're here to promote yourself. And then you go to another country and they're like, you're gonna bring a podcast to me? Like I will be there. I will be early, dressed with bells and whistles. I will meet you wherever you need. And I'm just like, maybe it's time to expand, you
Yeah.
know. And that's what I definitely want people to leave this interview with, is that there is more. Please don't ever feel like your city is the most, you know, that you have to depend on your city to support you. You know, travel's a little bit weird right now, but I mean everybody's doing virtual events. Like we're live right now, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like we're, even though we're probably closer than anyone else that's interviewed me, you know, between Boston and Rhode Island, but like, you know, it's just I feel like the opportunities are limitless.
Yeah.
And that's just what I believe. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen miracles. I started a business because I've seen miracles happen in my lifetime, you know, especially working in the mental health field. I've seen miracles. So I just feel like, you know, if somebody else can do it, you know, I've gotten this far. I can do it. Everybody listening, you can accomplish your goals too at your pace when you're ready. You know, we went through a crazy year last year, but yeah,
That is so good. You can accomplish your goals at your pace when you're ready. That's right. Like you only trying to be better than who you were yesterday. That's it. Nobody else.
definitely,
That is
definitely.
so dope. So such dope advice. You're amazing. You gave so much good advice, but is there anything you would want to leave people with at the end to be like your closing thing and then let people know how they can find you?
Definitely. I would have to say we dropped some gems, but
A
um,
lot.
yes, I would say the game changer for me, in general, not just in business, but just applying this to your life, is I operate where my focus is about joy. So I don't involve myself with anything that does not bring me joy. Do you have to do things that aren't like the most fun? Sometimes, okay. But like I operate my business, which is why I outsource things and I help other people outsource things. But the center is joy because it's more fulfilling, especially when you win, you know. And that's my focus, is that I need to be doing things that bring me joy so that I can keep coming back and be the strongest sense of myself. So I encourage people to locate that joy. If it's creating a chart, I have a whole, you know, almost billboard shaped. It's like this huge joy chart of these are the things that bring me joy, these are the things that don't, and organize your life like that. You know, if there are things that don't bring you joy, like you don't like folding your laundry, cool. There's people that can do that for you. So it's about working to make sure that those things are outsourced so that you can focus on joy, you know, because like I said, life is too short. But yeah, so I would say the best way to find me is on my website, www.melaninerinvirtualassistance.com. You can check out my art of delegation training on there. And yeah, if you're an overwhelmed business owner, you're looking for organization, or you want to launch that podcast, you have things on your chest you want to get off from 2020, book a consultation with me and we can kind of map that out.
Yes, especially people. I know a lot of people want to launch a podcast. I hired somebody a few years ago to launch my podcast. It's actually really um, good service to have because it's so much
Yes.
nuances that go in it. And then, if you get the hang of it, you can like do it yourself. But the initial part, I think, kind of scares people because it's so overwhelming.
Yes.
And so, like, if that's what you need to do, like, to get it started,
Yeah.
like, that's pretty dope that you do that as well.
I love it because sometimes it's those little things of like, I don't know how to do this, but I want my voice out there. And the fact that there's so many practitioners now that can help you. I love podcasting. I can't wait to have, I took a break just because, business and 2020 and everything. But, if you join my email list on my website, I will be relaunching my podcast. And we're just finalizing details. I'm super excited about that. But yeah, it's very liberating to have your own platform to show up authentically as yourself.
Hmm.
On the radio, you can't say this, you can't promote that. You got to make sure you put the drops and this type of music. Podcasting is you and just you.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
encourage everyone. I think everyone should start a podcast.
Yes. Thank you. This was amazing. I think everything that you are, that we talked about today, can help people in so many different ways. Creating your own joy is important, making sure joy is at the center. I think with everything going on, just the systemic racism and everything that's happening around the country, I think it's easy to get sucked into society's stuff. And I know it affects us, but I can't let that be like the center of my focus on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I've been in this field for so long, and I think sometimes I'm like, because there's some stories that stick out to me where I'm like, how are you even here still? And I
Yes,
always try to
yes.
figure, like, how is it that I can still be okay and still do this work? And it's the joy. Like I definitely am a big, like, that's like my main thing. I'm making sure every day I'm creating my joy, I'm taking care of myself. And so, like, I definitely would challenge my listeners to do the same. And I know it's not easy, but I do believe that peace is possible despite what's happening. I really do believe that it's possible, and I think that's why I go as hard as I do to talk about mental health. It's because I believe that we can actually, like, we're self healers. I think that we can really help
Yes.
ourselves overcome so many things, but we gotta, like, those, like, speaking that positivity into your life. It's
Hmm.
You got to be your biggest cheerleader, right? Like, I really think that we need to work on being our biggest cheerleader. I can't depend on Erin to always be kind to me, right? Do I
Yes.
break down because Erin's not kind? So, like, everything that you said, really is resiliency, and it's confidence. Like, it's just so good. It gives me chills just thinking about it.
Oh, I'm glad. Okay, good,
Ah.
good.
Thank you. You already have a fan. Someone just signed up. The podcast Black Girls Getting This Shit
Oh,
Together signed up for
awesome.
your letter. So,
That's perfect.
thank you. This was amazing. I appreciate you so much for what you do, and just for being the light that you are.
Thank you. I appreciate what you do that I couldn't, I had to take a break. It's a lot, what you do, and it's amazing work, and thank you for your service, definitely. For the community, and thank you for having me on your show. I loved it. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to listen back and just I can't. I love it.
Okay, bye, Erin.
Bye. Thanks, Celeste.
That was Erin. She's so sweet. This audio podcast is going to be available the first Wednesday in May. But you guys can definitely, like, check her out. She's really good. So thank you all so much. I'll be back next Monday talking to somebody else that's doing something to empower the lives of others. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a show idea, If you go to CelesteTheTherapist.com/stay connected, you can find that information. And until next time, I'll talk to you.
There's 65 days, but I treat every day like it's my last. I'm only concerned with building on the future, cause I can't change my past. Positive vibes for positive lives. She just giving you that truth and shifting your mind. It's more mental than you realize. It's up to you to take control, cause this world is cold and negativity gon' take its toll. Now we've been told any day could be your last. I'm embracing every moment and I cherish every laugh, every smile, every hug, every kiss, every touch, every person in my life that I care about and love. But wait, maybe I'm getting too emotional. That's exactly what they say you ain't supposed to do. Suppress your feelings, never talk about your pain. Can't appreciate the sun without acknowledging it rains, right? That's right. So this a moment of clarity, and make sure you always protect your energy. You stay focused and your life gon' be lit. And you are now rocking with Celeste the Therapist. Let's go.